with the Angels and the Phillies for the most home runs in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Aaron Judge, 10 by himself, and then the Angels and the Phillies combined as teams have 10 home runs over the last 2 weeks. Juan Soto of the Yankees has 9 homers in the last 2 weeks, and that's as much as the Athletics have as a team, the Rays, and the Rockies. And then, of course, you have Shohei Ohtani, who is still an absolute super beast as well.
About to be a 50-50 guy, huh?
Yeah.
50 stolen bases, 50 home runs.
Yeah, he's
first one ever to do that.
I mean, he had the walk-off grand slam over the weekend to become the first Dodger in franchise history to join the 40-40 club.
Yeah.
And so when you have the walk-off grand slam to put you in that club, that is just absolutely epic. You know who your MVPs are on either side of the MLB leagues. So, those guys continue to just carry this sport right now. And the numbers for Aaron Judge are just like absolutely ridiculous, dude. I mean, to have 50-plus homers before you've even gotten to September, he's on pace to tie his home run record that he's already got.
I thought he was up to over 63 potential. They said he's ahead of his pace.
Now he's pacing one more.
He's pacing
to break the record.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think anybody will ever get close to 73 though?
Homers?
I mean, yeah, if Aaron Judge is flirting with it now, it could be a really long time. But if you have a guy like Aaron Judge that's capable of potentially hitting over 60 twice, I mean,
it was 23 years ago now. I feel like Barry Bonds was a different player, aided by what he was aided by.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
I mean, pitchers have gotten much nastier at missing bats collectively now.
Yes. That's the other thing. That is totally fair in working against everyone. But, I mean, he's coming for the Triple Crown right now.
Is he?
Aaron Judge is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's first in homers, first in ribbies, second in average with a 333.
And he's doing it like with his twice as big of a strike zone as most of the other players, too.
Yeah.
Always been impressive to me. It's all guy can get.
Let's see. We also have a Babe Ruth memorabilia sale. Wow.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
You saw this?
Insane, dude.
1932 Babe Ruth called shot World Series jersey. Did you see this, Broadus?
I did not.
What do you think that went for? How many millions of dollars?
This was the Cubs, maybe, kind of a thing.
1932, you were there. I mean, why am I?
I was in the
stands.
Why
are you asking me?
Yeah, I was hawking peanuts that day. This is a jersey.
Yeah.
This was Yankees-Cubs.
Yankees-Cubs.
29th World Series. Babe Ruth calls his shot in his 10th and final World Series.
10th and final World Series. This jersey went for $3.2 million.
That wouldn't even be in the top 5 of highest selling sports memorabilia of all time at an auction, at least.
Okay.
And just so you know.
So this thing went for 10?
This thing is number 1.
Okay, this thing went for over $20 million?
$24.1 million.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth.
Who bought it? Do we know?
World Series jersey. I'm sure we could find that. I don't have it in front of me, but it was sold for that $24.1 million at an auction.
That's the highest ever.
That's the highest ever at an auction in terms of highest selling sports memorabilia of all time. This
How much would you have to be worth to cut out $24 million for anything? You got to be worth multiple billions, right?
Yes. Yeah. Especially for something as innocuous as that.
I mean, you're the biggest Yankee fan ever. Like, how could it possibly have that level of value for you?
How about $500 million?
Like, that's your net worth?
That's your net worth. $500 million, you're giving up 24 to 5%
get 5% of your...
Not doing that.
Wow.
I would need at least $1 billion to my name. Like, this feels like a Bezos move. You know, something like that. You have so much money you don't even know, like $24 million, you don't even think about it.
Yeah. I'd rather have this than another $20 million because the millions mean nothing.
Right.
$24 million get you a plane. Get you a nice plane.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Get you a lot of nice.
Yeah, get you a nice plane.
Well, we have number 2 is 1952 Mickey Mantle Topps card, and that sold for $12.6 million.
Okay.
So Babe Ruth is that jersey is almost twice the amount of second place in terms of highest selling sports memorabilia of all time. This was a crazy, ridiculous number.
There's paintings that go for more than that jersey.
All right. Yeah, I know. I know.
crazy.
It's just
Paintings?
incredible
Paintings.
what some of the world's elite spend millions and millions of dollars on.
Yeah, they be washing money through that stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those paintings. Yeah, you gotta watch them. I probably shouldn't have snitched like that.
You didn't mention any names.
Yeah.
It is the G-Bag Nation here on 105.3 The Fan. Little sports hodgepodge coming up. What Jerry Jones said about surrendering his title as GM as well. That's coming up next right here, the G-Bag Nation and The Fan. How about I chat D&M leasing with you, though? You've heard me talking about D&M for over a decade here on 105.3 The Fan. I've done over 10 easy leases in my time, 3 in my driveway every night. It's simply the best.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a pepper lady? Pepper lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg maidens?
Paprika?
No,
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
is the same. So pay as little as possible. Compare today at comparepower.com. The power is yours. Comparepower.com.
Yeah, buddy, welcome back. It is the G-Back Nation here on 105.3 The Fan. We'll hit a sports hodgepodge here in just a second. Segment is brought to you by Cars for Kids. Donate today, carsforkids.org. It's brought to you by the Frankels. Life is unpredictable. Accidents happen. If you're hurt in an accident due to somebody's negligence, call the Frankels for a free consultation, 214 or 817-333-3333. Go to frankelfirm.com. Fred and Blake are in there throwing heat, getting set for the Get Right. I see James Tritley is in there as well. He must be the producer this evening. So the Get Right coming up 7 to 11. Rangers have the night off. They'll visit the White Sox in the first of 3 tomorrow. Day baseball on Thursday, by the way. That's going to be a 1:10 first pitch, but the next 2 nights is going to be your 6:30 pregame, 7:10 first pitch. Clarence Hill has a story up on his new media outlet, and you can go read that in its entirety. It's basically Jerry Jones, making his case for being the man, saying he does a great job. And he said, the reason I don't let somebody else be the GM is because I don't have anybody that I will let do it to actually do it right. So kind of a word salad in there. What's that mean to you? To me, what this means is there's nobody else that'll do things to maximize the value and the attention of this team instead of going for the Super Bowl chances. I do believe Jerry Jones thinks that one of the most important things about the way that he does the job is the way that he talks about things in order to create the maximum news, cycle attention on it than necessarily to bring this team closer to winning. I think he believes in his mind the reason that he was able to grow this NFL from maybe being the second or third most popular sport to the undisputed king, and the Cowboys worth more than Real Madrid and Barcelona and Manchester United and Bayern Munich and all those other massive global brands, is because of the way that he steers the team through its ups and downs in a way to maximize the attention and the ratings. And I think it troubles him. It would worry him to put the team into a situation like the rest of the league has, or a lot of the league has, where the GM is only worried about trying to create a champion. Because if that happens, then not only do the Cowboys potentially lose their spot, but I think he looks at it like the Cowboys are a big part of the NFL's success because of how polarizing they are. You either love the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys. And so, I don't see Jerry Jones, willingly ever letting control of this go. Now, well into his 80s, as long as his faculties are there and it is somewhat credible, I think this goes on maybe another 10, maybe as many as another 15 years or so. What's your guys' read on why he said what he said today?
Well, I just think he being the owner and the general manager in his mind gives him a great advantage. From everything that you read in this article, he feels like the fact that he understands all the ownership side of it, it allows him to help make better decisions as the general manager because he feels like he's got the full picture. And he's got the utmost confidence in himself. So I don't know that he's trying to bring everybody else down around him. He's just super passionate about the idea that he sees the full picture better than anybody could because he is the owner and he is the general manager, and he feels like he's the best one to do it. I don't know how Will McClay responds to something like that, where it's like, I don't have anybody around me that can do it as well as I can. But at the same time, he definitely has no intention of giving up this particular role.
I mean, he's a smart guy. What do you think that is? Just ego? Like, you genuinely think he believes he's the best for the football operation?
I think there's things that he's privy to that other general managers aren't.
As the owner.
Right.
The cap situation, the television situation. He's made a lot of these owners billionaires by the negotiations and things that they've done.
He talked about that in that piece too.
Yeah, he feels like, to me, that we look at depending on what you think about the Brown family that runs the Bengals. Cincinnati, they've had some success here of late. They weren't very good, but families have run these teams before. The McCaskies, they haven't had very much success. The Rooneys in Pittsburgh, there's been some families that have run these businesses, have run these teams as businesses. But I think that Jerry's trying to tell you, like, listen, I control a lot of things that happen in this league. I'm at the forefront of, there's things that I will challenge. I'll challenge this commissioner on things, but he's on committees, even being 81, 82 years old. He's on these committees that set policy for the NFL. So in that regard, he could help a Will McClay, who does a good job of getting the players and getting the board prepared and stuff like that. He's that part he has a huge advantage over any other general manager in the league.
Yeah, and I believe him when he says, like, he does believe what he feels. Like, he says, I've done it all. I have an inordinate amount of confidence that if anybody can figure out how to get this S done, I can figure out how to get it done.
Yeah.
So, and then he to what you said, he talks to the owners like, man, I was here when we weren't just making money hand over fist. We were having to make tough decisions all the time about how we're going to do this. He's like, you owners now, you guys have no idea what it's like to come into these meetings and have to really come up with ideas on how we can be profitable here.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want your GM doing that. I don't know why in his mind those two things have to be in the same package. Like, ideally, you want somebody handling the business stuff and somebody handling the football stuff. He has failed to explain to me how he has to be GM of the Cowboys to have the NFL experience all of these other benefits.
I think that he looks at his training when he first came in the league in 1989 and the meetings he had with Al Davis. And maybe Jerry Jones in those meetings got influenced by Al Davis. And Al Davis told him, you don't need a general manager. You can do this. You could say the Raiders were poorly run as well. You could say the Raiders, as time wore on, the Raiders, they lost their way. But for a long time they were an elite type of an organization. 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, they had some big time teams. But I think Jerry's influence, or Al Davis's influence on Jerry, convinced him that he doesn't need to have a guy. But he has a guy that can do the heavy lifting for him in Will McClay.
Absolutely.
He's got it's not like he's a general manager without good, when I worked for him, we didn't do a good job for him. We didn't do a good job. And a lot of decisions he made were because of stupid things that we told him. So I think he has a better understanding as a general manager now. Hey, I need to listen to these people.
Because Jerry was incapable of having a vision on his own, though, is something you should include in that.
I think Jerry learned a lot from Jimmy Johnson. I don't think Jimmy Johnson, if Jimmy and him would have stayed together longer, I think Jerry would have been a better general manager. I might not have ever got to work for the Cowboys if Jimmy would have stayed here and said, hey, Jimmy was having the type of path or the type of career where he cared about personnel like Bill Parcells did. They could have done some really great things together if Jimmy wouldn't have just got tired and wanted to move on.
Yeah. You need somebody that's talented in that role and willing to work.
Jimmy was willing to he liked putting together the team. He liked doing all that. They came down to credit and things like that. And I think that's where Jerry got a little hurt. But I think Jerry's at a point now where, he doesn't want Will McClay. He doesn't need anybody else. But damn believe he leans on Will McClay.
Yeah.
To put these drafts and these boards and, free agency and, the lack of or whatever they do, they've got some guy, Alex Loomis, they've got some guys in that organization that are good. I wouldn't be surprised to see one day Will McClay say, you know what, I'm going to go do my own thing. I think we're closer to that day than we are with Will,
How could you not want to?
And then, okay, now what happens to Steven and Jerry and all that? Now all of a sudden, does this team really, do they have somebody that can replace a talented guy like Will McClay?
Well, he says he has great confidence in Charlotte and Steven and Jerry Jr. to get the job done. He was like, quote, if I get hit by a car out here tonight.
Yeah.
So he's not listing anybody else other than his own children.
You can read it all at alldallas.com. I think that's how you say this new media entity here. To me, a lot of these quotes come off as belligerent, and usually when you say that word belligerent, it denotes like alcohol use during the interview. I don't think it's alcohol, though. I think it's ego. And I think the man is drunk on his own power and sees running this football team as his reward for, leveraging the family wealth into buying this football team 35 years ago. And I think it's just as simple as that. He's going to be GM because he wants to. And unfortunately, we have to live with that reality.
He's the owner of that.
Yeah.
And
he's doing a pathetic job.
Well, now you can't say they've done a pathetic job other than the fact that they haven't had playoff success.
That's what the name of sports is, winning big.
Yeah.
And
winning, but they have won. They have won. They just
early on.
They haven't won championships of the late. I mean, they've been in playoffs. I'm just saying, if it's about winning, this isn't. We aren't the Arizona Cardinals here. We're not the Atlanta.
Might as well be.
We're not the Atlanta Falcons.
I mean, Arizona's actually been to a Super Bowl this century. Same with Atlanta.
So is the Falcons. Yeah.
But I'm saying
we're more
overall,
like Cleveland and Washington.
Cleveland, Washington. Yeah. I mean, we would be crushing the Commanders with Daniel Snyder every day. That was a poorly run organization.
Right.
That's one you crush because they don't have a good roster. They don't have a good coach. They're not winning every week.
Jerry's figured out a way to be this involved without having the team be that bad because Jerry is brilliant.
They've got good players. I mean, we all agree CeeDee Lamb's a really good player, right?
Yeah.
Micah Parsons, Tyler Smith, just go down the list. They've got good players.
Yeah.
They just haven't had playoff success. If you want to crush them for that, crush them.
That's what I'm crushing them for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you're saying
that
they're a poorly run organization.
Yeah, they are. Because the name of the game in sports is winning the Super Bowl, not just making the playoffs. If you were intentionally just making the playoffs to maximize your revenue and never giving your team or your fans a chance to actually win the championship.
He just gave a $34 million. How many millions of dollars did he just give a wide receiver?
Right, but that's paying a TV star.
No.
That's paying a TV star to get me TV ratings and to win enough to keep us relevant.
Players.
Yes.
He just paid the highest.
Hell, I could draft good players and pay them.
Challenge you to do that. Get a gig, do it. I challenge you. If that's the case,
well, I'll challenge Jerry to let me.
Okay,
but
fine. Go apply. Go walk in there next time you see Jerry.
Yeah, but that's a ridiculous idea. Nobody's going to let me do that.
Saying you bought it.
They got a now hiring button on that website.
Yeah. I'm just saying, though, to me, I understand the lack of playoff success and championship success. There's a lot of NFL. There's a lot of organizations. We said that forever for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I mean, he always talks about looking himself in the mirror. I don't know how you could say that with a straight face after failing to get beyond the divisional round for 30 freaking years.
Sure. In
a league that you intentionally created to have parity. So everybody could win it. Everybody could feel like we got a shot.
He's the one that created it. He created the parity by doing the salary cap.
Yeah.
He believed that everybody has an opportunity. He could have been selfish about this, sure. And he could say, screw you, Buccaneers. Screw you, Green Bay. Screw all you teams that don't have enough money.
Yep.
Screw you, Cincinnati Bengals.
And that's what somebody who actually wants to win more than anything would have done.
I can say I think he's made the league better.
He has.
He's made the league better. He's made all these guys. These guys and gals were getting an $8 million check from NFL property for their T-shirt sales.
He created the game of salary cap so everybody could have a chance. He invented
this. It's a better game.
And doesn't even know how to win it.
It's a better game.
It is, yeah.
It's a much better game.
And it grew the popularity.
That's why
so everybody could be worth billions and billions of dollars.
Absolutely.
So we agree what he really cares about is the money, not winning.
He cared about the league.
He built a league to maximize everybody's income.
He cares about the fact that they have just as good a chance in Cincinnati and Green Bay as they do in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. We follow the NFL because our teams have a chance. Yeah. In baseball, we went forever not thinking our team had a chance.
And now he's sitting around watching the teams that are lucky enough to have a GOAT quarterback get to the Super Bowl, and he's watching teams that manage the salary cap in a very specific way get there, and he's deciding that he wants to do option 3. You know, how that's not intentional. A man invented the game, doesn't know how to use the game to be a champion, but he definitely knows how to consistently make the playoffs. If that's not intentional, I don't know what is. I think it's important to have conversations like this and spell it out so the fans know exactly what they're supporting.
Oh, the fans know. They don't need you telling them that. The fans know.
I think a lot of them do.
I think a lot of fans do.
Yeah,
I think everything you're talking about is exactly what the fan base has been. Yeah, they're not fooled anymore. You're not wrong. But I'm just saying, though, this organization, it does find ways to win. It finds, and they've done a good job of getting players.
Do you think anybody felt satisfied after last year, though, Brian?
No,
like a winning season.
Did.
I'm stoked about.
No, it was a terrible situation. They were the second seed, got beat by the 7th seed. Nobody walked out of that stadium feeling good. The owner even said it the other day.
So that's not winning. That's not winning. Winning 12 games and losing in the playoffs is not a winning season, is it?
It's, to me, like they win the division. You give yourself an opportunity. You weren't good enough. The players that you sign and think they're good, that a lot of people around the league think are very good, let you down. You know, he let himself down. I mean, like I say, if you're going to these players, if you're going to pay him and all that, and you identify your best players and they let you down, is that him or is that the players? Is it the coach? Who's letting him down?
I think the one common thing.
As an organization, they're getting let down.
From the mid-'90s to now, there's only a couple of people in common, and they both got the last name Jones. You know, a lot of quarterbacks.
I tell you what, I'm just grateful I'm not working or not covering the Arizona Cardinals or people like that. I'm just grateful. You know, to me, Atlanta Falcons, I'm just grateful. I get it. They were in a Super Bowl here recently. I get it. But every year it's the same crap. Same crap.
Yeah, I mean, I love the environment that Jerry has created to cover. This thing
goes 4-13.
Yeah, a couple 3-4 years in a row. That would be real apathy.
Yeah,
and Jerry will make sure that never happens.
I think. Here I am arguing about winning. I think fans don't give a damn.
We got it. They don't care about winning.
No, they don't care. They care about the winning. They want to win Super Bowls.
Yeah,
they want to do those things.
Hey, just get to a conference championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, that I think would at least, you know, give fans some faith that maybe it's possible again. Yeah. We got to step aside to Get Right with Fred and Blake coming up next right here. It's the G-Bag Nation of the Fan.
I'm Pete Thompson with a Consumer Team alert. Many weather forecasters now say the heat wave will continue into the fall. If your air conditioner is not working properly, get relief today. Call the On-Time experts. They'll come to your home same day. Get your home cool again and give you a stay cool guarantee. Go to the On-Time experts.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
Lending.
Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine, they are the #1 Chevy dealer in the world with more Silverados than anyone else. Go see them today or visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
Well, thank you very much, Lucius. It is the G-Bag Nation here on 105.3 The Fan, and it is time now to get set for the Get Right. Tonight's configuration, you have Blake, and you have Fred, and you have James Tritley producing.
That's it.
So we got 4 hours of sports content to go here in this live and local excursion. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
I feel amazing. Every time I get to speak with you guys, it just brightens my day. Seeing your beautiful faces in here. Get to talk to beautiful
Shut up,
solos.
Blake. Such a jackass.
All right. See these icebreakers? I'm going to throw them at your forehead.
Ooh, that'd be a fun payoff.
Just skip right off the top right
the
there.
icebreaker payoff. We throw it on the board. We get to frisbee that thing right into your dome. We each get 2 chances. I think that's a fun one. Yeah, good call, Blake.
If it sticks, do we get bonus points?
Blake it or leave it?
Wait a
I'm
minute.
Blaking
We've got. Wait a minute. We have that coming up now, don't we? With the season starting.
We haven't gotten HR's approval this year. We have crossed the line one too many times, perhaps. So I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see on if Odyssey's gonna grant us that.
What? Throw stuff at people's heads?
No,
just our general survivor pool,
survivor
payoffs
pool.
throughout the football season. We've gotten called to the principal's office like 4 times now. The electrocutions, the bleeding, all that kind of stuff.
Sparky.
Yeah.
Every week we pick a game, and if you're wrong, you have to pay off with a bet, a bet payoff.
I had to
Let's do a taser this year.
Involving embarrassment, pain.
Yeah, I had to get really drunk at a Rangers championship
Spring
parade.
game?
Oh,
I had to pay. The spring training. I had to pay that off.
Dawson,
I was man in the crowd, and we couldn't get the microphone to work. I was interviewing people. It might not even been on.
Dawson ate a raw ribeye on the air.
Ooh.
That was tough.
How'd that go?
Tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Did you eat the whole thing?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
10, 12, 16 ounce?
It was a 16-ouncer. I had to freeze it, and it was tough,
Really?
dude. That might be the hardest bet payoff I've ever done. I got a haircut like Broadus one year.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun with the
looked
sides
like a monk.
flowing.
Cul-de-sac.
Got it dyed and everything.
Hair Island.
That was a lot of fun. You want to play along this year?
I absolutely want to be a part of this year.
Okay.
Sign me up. That's what I'm saying. When I was a cop reporter once upon a time, I volunteered to get tased.
Oh,
because I wanted to, let's.
You wanted to see what it felt like?
I wanted to see what it felt, and of course, I didn't sign a waiver or anything like that. I mean, I don't know that I was actually supposed to do it, but I was friends with the Port Arthur Police Department, and homeboys zapped me right there in the office.
It's a height of pleasure for you.
I don't know. Would you rather get attacked?
It's a kink of yours now.
Was it the one that shot the
please,
prongs?
no, let me do that. Let me get in the survivor.
There's no way in
Tase
hell
the
I'm
hell
doing
out
that. Is it okay? Getting attacked by one of their dogs, or like getting tased?
I'll take the dog because you get a costume. You get an outfit.
No costume.
You mean to legit just get bit by a dog?
Yeah, the dog gets to kind of jump on you.
I'll take the taser.
Am I allowed to punch back on the dog, or do I just have to take it?
You have to fight. Yeah, you have to fight back. The dog gets to jump you for 10 seconds.
No, I'll take the taser.
Well, they're starting to use those smaller ones, not the German Shepherds with the powerful bite. They're using the smaller. Was it in Belgium?
Yeah.
They jump better. They're smarter, but they're not as scary. I think I could body slam one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take that.
You would take the dog over
I'll
the
take the
Taze?
dog on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's an
As long as it's one of
I
those
saw
smaller ones.
Bassick had the suit on, and he was running, and then he slung the dog around like he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like the dog was hooked to the arm, and Bassick went in a
I think we were
a
in
death
Grand
spin
Prairie
to try and
or
throw the dog
maybe the
off.
Arlington Fire Department. Yeah, he wasn't playing along.
And Bassick's kind of like, they're like, no, stop.
Yeah, we're gonna do a demonstration.
The dog's hanging on by its teeth. It's like flying, in the air.
He had him on a merry-go-round. He did.
Took it too far.
What do you guys think of the CD Lamb contract? Is it fair? There's no big.
Absolutely. I mean,
winner, loser.
it's 1A, 1B as far as best receiver in the NFL. I mean, and of course, CA and I were talking about this yesterday. Doesn't it kind of feel, because it happened so quickly after preseason was over, like there was almost kind of like a wink and a nod agreement, like, hey, look.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to necessarily be in training camp, because he never got. I mean, if we look at like the passive aggressive tweets that really weren't all that passive aggressive. I mean, what did he say? Didn't he say LOL at one point?
Yeah.
To what
Jerry
said?
With a period.
Jerry said he didn't need him.
They really got serious talking Saturday at the end of the preseason. We're getting ready to head home. I think there was kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We'll get to this then. And I think the same deal with Linval Joseph. Like, we'll give Mozzie Smith all of the Oxnard time. And as soon as the final padded practice was over and it was clear he hadn't improved enough, we got the Linval
and
Joseph.
think about it this way, too. If you're Jerry Jones, we know Jerry's a masochist in the sense that he, no press is bad press, or no bad press is good press, or whatever the hell I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
you guys get what you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Isn't it a lot better to be talking about a deal that we all agree was going to get done, and we all agree on the parameters and the numbers when it comes to CD? Whereas with Dak, there is no happy medium with that. We really don't know, because there's a large contingent of the fan base that doesn't want to see him.
Yeah.
And let's call it what it is. Him getting $70 million would make people's head explode.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced Jerry's ready to do that either.
Yeah, and I don't know what to think about that one, because I don't think there is a deal low enough for Dak that he would realistically agree to that would give you enough of an edge with a team to now build a championship team around it. If you want to get there with Dak, you got to use a credit card and do some cap tricks and put way more good players on the roster than the cap should hold. And I don't think the team's willing to do that. So I'm kind of with the fans that hey, I would rather just watch Dak leave and reset the quarterback time here. Let's get a guy on a rookie deal, and maybe take another shot at having a GOAT that could actually carry you through a playoffs.
Mac Jones.
When you have a flawed roster. Yeah.
Mac Jones. I'm calling it right now. Mac Jones. Your Cowboys quarterback next year.
I don't think there's anybody.
There you go.
I don't think there's anyone that was happier after that preseason performances than Dak Prescott, because now he already had all the leverage, but seeing Trey Lance throw 5 interceptions, have 2 the other game, just not live up to the billing of really even quarterback 2.
You think he was quietly like Tiger fist pumping to himself after every one of those 5 interceptions?
Because if Trey Lance went out and balled out and had 4 touchdowns every game, no interceptions, then it's like, all right, Dak might be like, okay, make me the highest paid quarterback. I don't need that extra on top. Let's call it a deal and make it come in. Now, Dak has all the leverage, because they know at the end of the season, what are you going to play Trey Lance, Cooper Rush? You're probably not going to do that.
No, it's going to be Mac Jones.
It's going to be Mac Jones.
Hey, speaking of disappointment, thanks for not showing up at the game. I brought you the pizza burger. I brought you the pizza burger. Yeah, you were nowhere to be found up there.
I was
Friday night got too out of hand.
No,
Saturday afternoon.
I had to pick up my father at the airport.
Okay,
that's someone's got to do that.
All right,
there you go. That's
I'm
fair.
kind of the only person that can do that here. And part 2, I just thought I would let was Alec there, Mr. Medford?
I didn't see him.
I was told he was going to be there.
Punting on the preseason.
Yeah, but I did.
It was more New York strip for me.
Yeah, the pizza burger. The pizza burger was there. I was walking it out of the press spot, out of the Brad Sham booth to you, because I'm like, oh, Blake will eat this. Yeah. Blake, it was way too big.
Well,
by the way,
I'll let you know on my schedule. I already have it marked down for those Cowboys games. I'll be there right next to you.
Oh, sure you will.
We'll get snuggly.
Unless his dad decides to fly in. Then you're screwed.
Exactly.
Blake's too big for the preseason.
It's like, hey, we're going to get your credential, Blake. Don't worry about that. But, hey, do what you have to do.
Blake's like, dude, I covered the NBA Finals. You got me showing up to a preseason game?
Yeah.
First year on the radio is big time in y'all.
Yeah, I know. My man's asking questions. Kyrie. Blake here, 105.
Hey,
Kai, Blake, 105 through the fan. And he kind of gets the acknowledgement. It's like, watch this.
Yeah, Kai knows me, guys. Not saying whatever, not doing whatever.
We got to get our credentials by the 30th, by the way.
Hey, something to timestamp here before we go.
What happened?
What do you have the timestamp before?
Anything?
Oh, we got our boy Mark Dominic, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers GM, coming on.
yeah.
Talk all things, behind the scenes and kind of his thoughts on this Cowboys team for 2024.
Love it. Yes, sir. Heavy hitters coming in. Here we go. Thanks to Lucius Alexander in the Pimp Cup there at Master Control. 5 hours. Flawless radio producing, engineering, and hosting. Thanks to Carter Freeman. Thanks to Chia Follow. Send Wolchuk some love on social. Thanks to Broadus. I'm Gavin Dawson. Till tomorrow at 2, you're going home with the nation. Salute.
Fortria Clinical Trials is currently seeking healthy adults ages 18 to 60. You must be available.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
ReliantAirConditioning.com.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station.
From our Hiley Mazda of Arlington and her studios, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Welcome in, DF Dub. 105.3 The Fan on a Monday night. That's the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Blake Elliott. I am your host for the evening, Mr. Fred Davis, and of course, the man behind the glass on the ones, twos, and threes, Mr. James Tritley. Glad to have you guys all on board tonight. Blake, you maneuvered through Dallas traffic to get here. God bless you. You made it here with a little bit of time to spare, and you know, we're just glad to have you. We're just glad to have you here today, my man.
You know what? I am not going to go off on drivers today. I'm going to.
You can. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, but people do not know how to drive. Construction in Dallas is getting out of hand. One lane roads,
right.
on a busy lane,
downtown street. I mean, what are we doing?
One lane.
As if road rage in this city isn't bad enough.
With 5, it's already bad.
And now you want to restrict the way people can drive. I mean, you showed me a picture, a video, if you will, of the light turned green and was green for quite some time. Standstill. Nobody accelerating, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's what starts road rage.
Lamb, you know, green light, but nothing's happening.
Oof.
Until today.
Oof. Boy, I'll tell you what, but when they accelerated hard, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge surprise. I mean, again, we can all kind of just finally, it's kind of like we can all just exhale finally now with the news of CeeDee Lamb, now the second largest non-quarterback contract in the history of the National Football League. 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. That's the Franklin Frankel Injury Attorney text line. I want to hear from all you Tolos out there today. And, of course, obviously, if you followed 105.3 The Fan, and we know a lot of you do, you heard that news earlier today about CeeDee Lamb finally inking the contract. And, again, does this strike you as ironic at all, the timing of today's deal?
No, I think you're going to see a lot of – we've seen roster cuts happening today. Teams finalizing what they want their team to look like going into the regular season, and the Cowboys realized that they needed their main man in CeeDee Lamb, one of the 5 best offensive players at the skill position, I would say. Definitely top 5 when it comes to just a receiver position. It doesn't surprise me based on the timing. Just it is what it is. Preseason's over. There's no more fluff. There's no more stories to go around. It's, hey, let's get the regular season. So there's nothing to draw out, and I think Jerry just – I don't even really want to say cave, but finally just came to his senses.
I don't even know. I don't know if y'all heard us during the crosstalk, but I think it was a little too convenient, to be honest with you. I feel like this was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge type of deal. As I alluded to during the crosstalk, it never got acrimonious. It was almost like the acrimony, the back and forth was kind of contrived in a way, because even when you like break down, and I want to say you and I were on, or I don't know if it was me and you, or if it was me and CA that was on when, actually no, it was me and CA the day that Jerry says, "Oh, I'm not in a rush to get it done," and everybody, "Oh, what does that mean?" Because were you with me? Were you on that night too, James?
Oh yeah, that was me.
See, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
I think
it's a great show.
So there's CTE. You guys heard of CTE? I feel like I might have marijuana-induced CTE from the 25-plus years of weed that I smoked. Not that I do it anymore. Just putting that out there. Not a preface. And not that there's anything wrong.
Is there something wrong with
for
that?
people that do?
Yeah.
Okay, but
I feel like you're attacking people.
Well,
that
no,
happen
Are you
to
attacking
enjoy
people that
themselves.
like to smoke?
No, I'm just saying for somebody like me who did it for longer than you two were alive.
Now you're just trying to throw shots at our age.
Now
right
you're flexing at our age. Now you're going at young people.
No,
I mean, can you pick a battle?
No, I'm just saying for somebody
Can you
who
not
did it
go
for as
2 for
long
2
as
in the
I
opening
did.
segment
Hey,
here?
I'll tell you
against-
what, shots fired, people. Okay, that's what you get. Just
Starting out hot.
flow of consciousness right here. That being said, gentlemen, it wasn't even like they were that upset at each other, right? Because after Jerry said that, the whole, I'm not in a rush to get it done. There's no sense of urgency on my end. And then CD comes out with the quote tweet and does the LOL. And didn't you say it was he put a period at the end of it, like LOL period? Like it wasn't even like that. Wasn't even. I do appreciate the fact that he never gave us any like cryptic gifts.
He did. He had the Instagram, the Spider-Man. You didn't see that one?
But yeah, what was that? But
I was going into Venom. Yeah. So
but was that after anything Jerry said though? That was the cryptic. Like he just kind of said it randomly one day.
I think that was. I don't think it was after a direct quote. I mean, Jerry was kind of saying something every practice, but it wasn't some national breaking.
Right.
No,
it wasn't anything crazy.
But I think when we heard the official quote, none of it made sense. Like it didn't.
Has anything he said make sense?
Now we're talking about the right thing here.
Like is that any of that made sense?
I know.
He literally called himself the best GM today.
Not just there's some explicits in front of
there's
that
some not
too.
safe for work stuff he said earlier today.
And we're going to get to that in the next segment. But I'm going to tell you this. I do think that when Jerry says stuff like that, look, I've been here for 4 months now. And, in my line of work, I travel all across the DFW Metroplex. And Dallas Cowboy fans, especially guys like my age and older, and even younger ones are not even like Dallas Cowboy fans. They're either Chiefs fans or Patriot fans or something. And you get a few younger Cowboy fans, and I'm not going to say that speaks for everybody, but the prevailing theme or feedback I get is he doesn't even care about this team. All he cares about is making money.
Yep.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. But
I hear that a lot.
Right? I mean, you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. James, he's not about winning. He's about making money.
I hear it all the time.
And I try to say, well, he's won 36 games. Like, let's temper it a little bit. But when he says stuff like, I'm the greatest GM, it kind of underlies what people are talking about because it's like, you really think you're the greatest? I mean, and it's that mindset is why this team hasn't won a Super Bowl in 30 years.
I'm not going to disagree with you because when I think of greatest GMs, business people, yes, for Jerry. But with GM, I'm thinking strictly football, constructing a roster, doing contracts well. Every time that we're on the radio or there's a video about the best contract values, it's your team that keeps getting brought up in that. You did a good job of being ahead of the 8 ball and signing this player when no one else believed in this player, and you get him on a long-term deal, and now it's like, wow, we're only paying this guy 10%, 20% under market value of what a guy at his position is getting. Or we didn't sign that guy that ends up falling off of a cliff, and everyone called us crazy for doing it. And you can look at the Chiefs. I mean, Tyreek Hill, most people would, cave and pay him whatever he's wanting. They let him go, replace him with Rashee Rice and a plethora of other guys, and win a Super Bowl the next year without him. So understanding how to work the game and not paying everyone but paying just the right people, I think is a big part of going in GMing. Jerry's up there, but to say he's the best and to say, because I don't even think it's just Jerry, that's
it almost
insane.
makes you wonder who the best GM is, and it's always
right now it's Brett
subjective.
Veach.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's Brett Veach. It's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, he's this dude. And this is the difference, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Chiefs fan. I mean, it's easy to be a Chiefs fan right now. I mean, it really is. But if you look at the job this guy's done in the draft, part of the reason why the Chiefs have been able to maintain this run, they've got the greatest quarterback on the planet. That never hurts. But the ability that they've had in drafting, because let's call it what it is. Mozzie Smith is a bust at this point. All right, you're not, and I hate to say that because I know we are, and look, I'm just trying to use a little reverse psychology for our guy because I know, and I don't know if James was on the show the last time. No, it's Kevin. Kevin was on the show the last time. I don't know if Kevin's a member of this or not, but we are the official members of the. We're not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater on Mozzie Smith. We still think he might be able to, be worthwhile club.
And James, I want you to know this is nothing talent related. This is just us believing.
We're just trying to.
There's no talent of we saw this one play. It's straight up just believe.
That's fine.
It's blind.
Sometimes
it's blind luck.
Yeah, sometimes you go after players like that, and you just think that there's a lot more belief, and that's all it's based on is belief. You're not looking at talent here. Yeah.
No, we're not. And
we're not.
we're absolutely not looking at talent. I mean, if it was that easy to do, I mean, we'd love for it to be like, hey, this is it. But if it was talent, then we wouldn't be part of this club. There would be no need for this club if that was the case. So, Tolos, if you want to join we're here to support the Mozzie Smith, because we just want to see this guy. Because at the end of the day,
he's back up to weight. Maybe he'll be a different player. Maybe the preseason was just I'm trying.
But that's what you got to do. But that's what you have to do.
It's like he should have dominated the preseason for me to even have this bold of a claim of like, hey, he's gonna year one let's wash it out. He's gonna be a different player in year two. I mean, when you don't even do that,
you signed a 36-year-old dude who played 7 games last year, and he's automatic. I mean, think about this. Our boy Jordan Phillips, shout out to Wichita, Kansas. All right, who didn't even make it through training camp with the Giants. Was talking about retiring at the end of his, and he's been in the league 11 years, and he's, 31, 32 years old. Solid, former second-round pick. Good, solid rotational body, because that's what he's going to be, because that's what you get usually at this stage of training camp. So you brought him in. Then you bring in our boy Linval Joseph, who, again, is, 35, 36 years old, all right? And then, of course, you bring in Carl Lawson. So you bring in all these 3 guys, all older veterans. Although we could say with Carl Lawson, he's only been in the league 6 years. There might still be a little something left there with him. And I was listening to the show earlier. There might be with our boy Carl Lawson. Just got to knock some rust off, as Broadus said. But Mozzie everything's there. That's the frustrating part. Is that, say what you want about Trey Lance. And let's call it what it is. I mean, Trey Lance, when you're throwing 5 picks against the 3rd team, 4th team, San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, that tells me all I need to know about where he's at. But I mean, we didn't even at least he showed every now and again, a burst. Every now and again, he'd throw a dot over somebody's shoulder. What play? What's the most memorable Mozzie Smith moment from training camp? An allergic reaction. Yeah, that's it. And I'm not. I don't say that. I'm not saying that to make light of the situation. Keep an EpiPen for all you kids out there that may or may not have deadly allergic reactions to things. But that's the moment of our boy Mozzie from the 2024.
You have any allergies, Fred?
Penicillin.
You and me both.
Penicillin.
You and me both.
Yeah, in the Navy, when you're in the military, shout out to all my military folks out there. They make you wear you got to have a red dog tag, so that way, God forbid, if anything ever happens.
Allergic to penicillin?
Yeah, let you know that.
Okay.
Speaking of Mozzie Smith not playing up to the standard, there were some other players that were on the fence of making this Cowboys team, this 53-man roster.
Is your boy Deuce making the roster?
It looks like Deuce will be making the roster.
Does he make your roster, though?
He makes my roster. I think he gives you something a little bit different.
How many running backs you keeping?
I'm keeping Zeke, Dottle, Deuce, 3, and then Hunter Lipke as my fullback, so 4.
So you're just keeping 3?
Yeah,
three. But are you scouring the waiver wire?
I'm definitely. I mean, apparently they already are trying to bring in what's our boy's name? Dalvin Cook.
I mean, why?
I don't know.
Why?
We went through this in the off season, and I didn't want this, but
what? Because he didn't look slow enough in New York. Let's see if he can be slower in Dallas.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What is Zeke not slow enough? Let's go ahead and bring in one more slow.
Let's bring in another Zeke.
Yeah.
For you nerds that love keeping up with the roster and the roster cuts, these are the players that were waived by the Dallas Cowboys this morning. Deontay Burnett, receiver. Alec Holler, receiver as well. Cole Cabrel, being a center. Josh DeBerry, one of your corners. Willie Harvey, the linebacker that we brought up from the UFL.
UFL guy, Willie.
I kind of thought he would have a good shot.
He'll probably get brought in the pro. That means my boy Darius Harris is still in line to get.
I don't see his name on here. So
I think Darius makes this roster. I haven't heard anybody else talk about him, but I think Darius makes this roster.
Cam Johnson, the linebacker.
Drip for days, by the way, with my boy Darius.
Jason Johnson, the defensive tackle. Nathaniel Pete, the running back, and Eric Scott, the corner. But we saw get a good amount of reps in the preseason. So those players are already waived, and then some other guys are waived / injured that will not be on it right now that they can be claimed. David Durden, defensive end.
All right.
Feheko, the defensive tackle.
I'm sorry?
Feheko?
Oh, okay.
I heard that too. I was
just making sure.
I was very close to that dump button right there.
And Darrell Johnson.
Gazoon tight. Okay. All right. Well, We will, and you'll hear a few more, but like I said, you got to get down to 53 by 4 o'clock tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. That's the drop dead time.
Yeah, and then so those players I read were waived, which means they can be brought back, practice squad, the whole nine.
A handful of those dudes will come back.
3 are terminated, which are going to be your vested veteran players. They cannot be brought back for this, not subject to waivers. They become free agents. Albert Huggins, the defensive tackle, who
Huggy Bear?
I think we saw was the one that kind of got into it with was it the Raiders or the Chargers practice or the Rams? One of those.
Probably the Rams.
Where he hit the
quarterback?
The quarterback that was one of the staff members. And kind of gave him a little
I think
bit
that was the
shove.
Rams. I think that was the Rams.
When he gave him a little bit of a
practice.
shove. I believe that was Mr. Albert Huggins.
Huggy Bear. Huggy, if you're listening, 877-881.
Damian Wilson, who longtime Cowboy, will not be on this team anymore. And then fan favorite from the preseason, Tyron Billy Johnson, the receiver.
I mean, is that any surprise?
Did not make it.
I mean,
he had a good couple weeks, but the guy you drafted, Ryan Flournoy, is going to take your spot. I mean, I thought he had a good shot, but Ryan Flournoy.
He's been on 6 teams. He's got 17 names. I don't trust him.
Do you think his name held him back?
I wouldn't have even brought him into camp.
I mean, he balled out. He did his thing. He made it a conversation.
Yeah, for the
Is it just because of the name you don't want him in the camp?
I don't trust it. If Fred was a GM, I would never draft or bring in anybody with a hyphenated last name.
Wow. Sorry to all the hyphenated last names out there.
I'm not doing it. I'm not. Name me one hyphenated last name guy that's a baller right now.
Valdez-Scantling.
Again, name me one.
Edwards-Helaire.
Edwards-Helaire.
Name me another one.
You don't think Edwards?
I just named 2 Chiefs players for you.
And I just crapped over both of them.
Wait, you say you don't believe in your Chiefs players?
I mean, they're great guys. God bless them both. But I mean, Edwards-Helaire's been a bust since his rookie year, and Valdez-Scantling, there's a reason why he got cut, and then is about to get cut by the Bills.
Yeah, he's hurt.
He did have that huge catch against the Baltimore Ravens, though, so I will give that. But again, I wouldn't even brought him in, so that's just me. All right, we got a lot to get to over the course of this program.
Jackson
Mark Dominic.
Smith and Jigba?
The fact that his first name's Jackson, I would at least bring him in for an interview, but it'd be a lot of scrutiny. Because I would want to know the gist of where this whole thing started.
SGA? Say
Shea Gilgeous Alexander? Yeah, I can't. I don't want to.
Shea what?
Yeah, it's too many.
Gillis.
Gilgis.
Gigas.
Oh, jeez.
Gilgis. Coming up next, what did Micah have to say about our boy CeeDee Lamb getting the big cheddar? And a little bit more on Jerry, plus your thoughts and more. And we're going to hear from Mark Dominic, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers GM, here as well later on in the program. What would he do with the Dak Prescott situation now that that's going to be all eyes on Dak moving forward? Lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. He's Blake Elliott. That's James Tritley. I'm Fred Davis. Don't go anywhere. It is 105 The Fan at night.
More and more of you are turning us on and leaving us on. Hashtag don't.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
I think we're like 2 weeks in at this point.
We are back to school. High school football.
Let's go.
Starts this week. Let's go. Texas Sports Network. We got that going on. Your boy hosting a little scoreboard show.
Okay.
10 to 12:30. Get your mind right, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you tune into that. And the text messaging will be open for those of you that are listening to the show. and I'll have to tell you on Thursday what station it's on. I want to say 1080.
Okay.
I want to say. Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote him.
Don't quote me. I mean, what other station would it be on? I mean, it's not on this one. We know that.
I mean, it's a 50-50 shot here, Fred. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's one or the other. So if it's not this one, then it's got to be 1080, right?
We're the hyphen show where we care about hyphenated last names, and I got one for you.
We do.
You said that there was no good players with it, correct? That
I
was
didn't say there was no good
you said
players.
You would never draft
no
anybody.
Ballers, but you know what?
Ballers.
But I'm about to make an amendment to.
There's only one?
No, because I'll tell you what. If your first name makes up for your hyphenated last name, and you've got a good story as to why, like Edwards-Helaire, I'll give him a little bit of a break. A couple reasons. One, he's going through PTSD right now. Number one. And so when I saw that, I was kind of like, wait a minute, PTSD. Apparently, him and another player shot and killed somebody, like they were getting robbed, and so one of them shot and killed another player. It wasn't. I don't know that it was him that pulled the trigger, but I think it might have been the guy that he was with killed the guy trying to rob him. That's it's kind of very abstract information as it pertains to what really went down. Yeah. But ever since then is when he's had these issues.
Okay.
This is according to him, not, I mean, this.
Can I give another name for you that might break your thing? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I don't feel bad about him. I mean,
he's all right. He might make the cut.
He gave that name to himself after converting. Although, Lou Alcindor, not a bad name either. Now, are we talking about Kareem Abdul, the basketball player? Or are we talking about the running back for the Dolphins? Because there was that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as well.
What about
that
Big Jarvis Green Ellis?
Yeah, no, he wasn't very good either.
Skylar Diggins-Smith?
Skylar Diggins. Oh, tell you what, great story from our boy Reg about Skylar Diggins, although I think she was just Skylar Diggins at
time.
That point, yes. She had not added the Smith
No
part
attitude
yet.
left yet?
Definitely not the attitude at the end.
Jeez.
Definitely not the attitude at the end.
Okay, last one. Jean-Luc Grandpierre. I feel like I said that right.
Wouldn't know. Don't even know who that is.
I feel like he was 98% right on that one.
Don't even know who
that is. A NHL defenseman from Quebec.
Okay.
Come on, you don't know that?
No.
Come on, get out of here.
I'm not a big. I grew up in Kansas, bro. We didn't have hockey.
You're not skating around.
We're not. We had the Blades for a hot minute.
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist,
one of the biggest busts of all time.
One of the greatest jumpers ever.
Speaking of bus, real quick, I went out and said that our boy Mozzie was a bust, which I'm going to retract that statement, okay? Again, because we are part of the Mozzie Smith. We want to see him get back on the right track fan club. Yeah. From the 810, I met Mozzie today. He's a good kid. Give him another year before we call him a bust. So, all right, we'll let the niceness factor in. and I'm going to tell you what. You can appreciate this. Okay. You can appreciate this. For anybody that's ever had to go into a locker room, all right, especially if you're part of a post game, got to interview players afterwards, especially when the team isn't any good. I had to do this years ago when I was back in the day when I was covering the Texans, and I think they went like 2-14 that year, whatever it was. Like, you get to know these guys because you see them every week. And it gets and you do like, man, this guy's not very good, but I got to talk to him. Okay? And so I do understand where that factors into, man, yeah, he sucks, but man, he's such a nice guy. Like, you don't want to say it.
And that's fine if it's my 4th round pick. Right. He's not that great, but at least he's nice.
Undrafted free agent, gunner on special teams.
You better be nice.
I can live with that.
But if you're my 1st round pick, I could give 2 cares about what kind of attitude you have. Now, I don't want you to be negative towards my team, but if you're more cold into yourself, but you're putting up 10.5 sacks and stopping the run, I don't care.
No, but you can buy a little bit of leeway with fans if you're a nice guy.
If you're at least nice.
If you're nice and you
and available. You got to be available. You can't be the guy who's nice and on the sideline 24/7.
No, you got to at least make some. And if he makes a play every now and again, like sneaks into the backfield, like, shoestring tackle or something, like, oh, man, it could have been a 25-yard line. It wouldn't have been for Mozzie, and he's falling down as he makes the tackle type stuff. We can live with that. But but again, I appreciate the fact that this guy from the 810, shout out to the Tolo, met him today, but is also willing to say, look, if he still sucks in a year, or if he's not good in a year, then we can all call him a bust. Okay. But for now,
so he's got 12 months from today.
Well, he's got to see. Because if he goes through another season,
of average.
And is just I mean, let's call it what he is. He's the third or fourth guy on the depth chart right now. And he's your first round. I mean, he's the youngest guy by a country mile. You got dudes old enough to be his, foster brother, for crying out loud, and this is where he's at right now on the depth chart.
You have to be a certain age to be someone's foster brother.
Foster brother
I
is
didn't
wild.
want to, I didn't say, well, have you ever had
uncle?
one?
I think uncle is like a nice way to say the same rather than like.
You ever had a foster brother that's 15 years older than you?
I've never had a foster
Let me tell you
brother.
something. It's not fun. It is not fun.
Okay, what about Caldwell Pope? Just to switch back to the hyphens.
Contavious?
We're gonna have these come. We're gonna have these coming through all night long.
Contavious. I would say that's a solid role player, like one of the best.
Well, and with a name like Contavious, I'm gonna let
Solid
that slide.
first name, right?
That's all. I'll tell you what. That's a Hump Day haiku line all of it itself. Contavious Caldwell Pope.
That's two of the lines right there.
Two lines right there. No, tell you what. Change my mind tonight. It's a Change My Mind Monday. That's what we're gonna. We might just start. We might just start a new thing. Change My Mind Monday on why Fred should buy in to people with hyphenated last names. And I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take it one step further, gentlemen. If you have a hyphenated last name, 877-881-1053. You got 30 seconds. Call into the show and sell me on why we should buy into people with hyphenated last names.
This guy from the pudding, actually, I think this is
And Amon Ross St. Brown is not a hyphenated last name.
Jan or John Dehem wrote an entire article on this about the rise of hyphenated names, last names in pro sports. I promise you, it is detailed. It's got stats. It even has a function where you can switch between each pro sport.
Okay.
And figure out where all the hyphenated names are. So in the NFL, there is 43 hyphenated out of 3,818 names, so 1.13% in the NFL in the 2010s.
All right. How many Super Bowl winners are those?
All of them.
Every single guy who's ever had a hyphenated last name. You go to the league with a hyphenated last name, you're winning a Super Bowl. That's the moral of that
How bad
story.
do you feel, Fred?
I still don't.
In Major League Baseball,
role players, that's all they were.
In Major League Baseball, 3 out of 2,065, 0.15%.
Only 3 guys in baseball have hyphenated
Hey, who are the
last
baseball
names?
guys? I'm curious about that.
Bibbins, Dirk.
Austin
with an
Bibbins
X.
Dirks, former Ranger great right there, baby. Austin Bibbins
Off
Dirks.
the top turnbuckle with the hyphenated last name.
Kiner Kalefa.
Another Ranger great, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, now with the
Wow.
Pirates.
That's 2 for 2.
Oh, I love this.
Sean Reed Foley.
No.
Those are the 3.
Boo this man.
How about D. Strange Gordon?
Okay.
I remember D. Gordon, but that's not the same one.
Same guy.
Same guy? He had it
D.
strange to his last
Strange
name?
Gordon.
All right. Well, speaking of strange, nothing strange about how Micah Parsons felt about his boy getting the bag today.
Congratulations to my man, CD Lamb. Man, couldn't be happier for the guy. One of the best dudes in the locker room, one of the best players on our team, and to get the payday he got to take care of his family, I couldn't be more happy for CD. So congratulations to my brother, CD Lamb. Man, it's a dream to be watching you, parting up with you, and suiting up with you every week. So congratulations on your bread. You earned every dollar.
Was that a cameo?
I'm sorry.
Did somebody ask Micah to do a cameo for CD Lamb?
I'm sorry.
Was that the most genuine thing to say to a teammate?
Hey, man, tell us how you feel about CD getting that pay. Hold on a second. I want all my fans to know this.
I am so happy for him. I mean, that's my dog. He couldn't have done more. What does it say here for the team?
That's right.
I mean,
I got a couple.
I was ready
bullet
for
points.
a sponsor read as well.
Yeah, seriously.
I think he is genuinely best friends with CD, but the way that video comes across, you wouldn't know it.
Didn't feel super genuine.
He said congratulations like 5 times.
He did.
Too.
He did. But you know what? We're all happy for CD Lamb.
I think he also wants to get his bag. So he's like, congratulations.
Yeah,
man.
a little bit of angst in that read, wasn't there?
I mean, cool.
At least somebody getting paid around here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but hey, CD, you earned this, and he did, and he absolutely did. And so now you've got, and now that this is done. And this was the easiest one, right? Like we've all been doing this for quite some time now, the last 4, 5, 6 months, whatever the hell you want to call it, as far as since the season ended, who was going to get paid next. You know, Micah, we knew Micah was going to be off to the distance anyway because you still got one more year, and we're still kind of in that wait. I don't want to say we're in that wait and see mode, but again,
the Cowboys are not going to be proactive and do stuff ahead of schedule.
No, and if you were him, would you take the deal anyway right now? I don't know that you necessarily would. So Mike is off in the cut, waiting, doing his thing. you really only had Dak and CD. CD, once Justin Jefferson got paid, I mean, I feel like we all knew it was kind of a formality at this point. It's essentially what it was. 4-year, $136 million deal that now makes him the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. It also includes a $38 million signing bonus.
And I believe $100 million of that 136 is guaranteed in the bank.
It's a lot of lettuce, my friends. That's a lot of lettuce. And so now that that's done, you've got your full complement of offensive stars minus whatever addition they make in the running back room. Because I think we all agree, look, offensive line group,
it looks promising.
You're solid, okay? Yeah. You're solid, good, not great, and we'll let this group kind of play itself out as the season goes on. But I think you feel a little bit better about, I tell you what, you feel a whole hell of a lot better about that left tackle spot today than you did on draft day. You did than when Tyron Smith left, and now that you know what you got in, Tyler Guyton went out there, did his thing. Offensive line feels good. Our boy Cooper Beebe did his thing. So left tackle to right tackle, you feel good about this group. Now that CD's in the fold, you feel good. And I look, I said this yesterday with CA. I'm gonna say it again. I think Dak balls again. And we're all going to wait and see. I think this is a team that can go 11-6, 12-5, whatever it's going to be, somewhere in that ballpark. And then we're all going to sit there with bated breath, gentlemen, to see what he does come January.
We'll have to wait and see, man. I'm excited.
All right, coming up next, former NFL GM Mark Dominic, and just all-around good dude. Did I mention he's a Jayhawk as well? Joins us to talk a little Dallas Cowboys, and what would he do with Dak Prescott? Lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. This is 105 The Fan at night.
Coming up Tuesday morning on Sean and RJ, we finalize the Cowboys.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
Help us cheer and support our first responders. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. They're the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Relax and enjoy the difference based on new Chevy registrations 2023.
Appreciate that, Mr. James Tritley. And let's jump out to the D&M Leasing Hotline. Welcome to the program. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers general manager and, graduate of arguably the greatest public institution of all time, the University of Kansas. One, Mr. Mark Dominic. Mr. Mark, A, how are you tonight? And B, our boy Jerry Jones said he is one of the greatest GMs of all time. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. Where does he rank in the pantheon of GMs?
Well, Will McClay deserves some credit for what they're doing there, too. But the one thing you'll say about the Dallas Cowboys, and it's something I've known my whole life, is since I've been in the league in the early 90s, they take care of their players. They have always done it. They always try to do it, and they've shown again today that they're going to do it again. So, he's done a great job. One of the greatest GMs in the world, whatever. It's hard, to fight the amount of rings that Dallas has won in the last couple of years. But I do think this team, I was very bullish last year. I thought they were going to go further in the playoffs. I'm still very bullish, even with the injury to Deron Bland. This is a really, really great roster, and it's got some.
Mark, I got to ask you, we just went on the last segment going back and forth about hyphenated last names. Do you think a hyphenated last name is something that you're worth drafting? Because your boy Fred over here said if there's somebody with a hyphenated last name, he's not drafting him.
I've not thought about that. I haven't run that big of a query on hyphenated last names. I mean, I know there's a Taylor,
Taylor Britt.
So there's a couple guys that are playing pretty good that have hyphenated last names. I've never thought about that, and I've never thought analytically of what that means. But I'll dig into it. But it doesn't bother me at all.
Fair enough. Like I said, we were. I don't even remember how we got into it, but that's just something. Like I said, and I know from a scouting perspective, and we got your boy Brian Broaddus here on 105 Through the Fan as well. So look, I'm a big believer in any little thing that you guys can get an edge. All right. So that being said, when you look at you signed CeeDee Lamb today, you give him the big contract, and again, as you alluded to, the Cowboys do take care of their players, and CeeDee Lamb was kind of a no-brainer, right? But now the big question is going to be, Mark, what do you do with a Dak Prescott? And when you look at where quarterback salaries are going right now, A, do you miss having to deal with that? And B, what would you do if you had, if you were in Jerry Jones' shoes right now and trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do about Dak Prescott?
Yeah, I wish that would have been a problem I had in Tampa. I had a young quarterback who was really talented, but he couldn't be consistent. And I told his agent when he came to me at the Combine, they were ready to do a deal, a below-market deal, and I said, I just need to see another year. And I learned that from Ozzie Newsome, a great general manager, obviously with the Baltimore Ravens, who made Joe Flacco prove it. And I'm a big prove-it guy. I think that for Dak Prescott, you can go back and look at articles when he was at the Senior Bowl, and I'm quoted like, I think he's a legit player, a second-round, third-round talent. I thought he was a really good player. I have been on his train and stay on his train of a guy that believes in him. I don't think the grass is greener without Dak Prescott. I think the trouble I think Dallas is going to run into is if he does what I think he can do again this year, he's going to go into 58 to 60. That's where it's going to head because Trevor Lawrence got $55 million and he hasn't done a lot, right? And so it's going to be one of those things where how do you do the same thing? Now I know Dallas does a good job with CeeDee Lamb. And one of the big things they sell is, Justin Jefferson got 35 a year and you got 33 or whatever it was. But the state taxes is a big deal to these players and to the agents and to the CPAs and to the financial advisors. And so CD actually has a better deal than Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, because of the state tax situation. In this case with Dak Prescott, I would fight to try to go ahead and get something done in that 55, 56 range, and I'm comfortable doing that. I think, again, he's a really great player, and I'm hoping to parlay his contract, 2 or 3 years out, and that helps me get Micah Parsons taken care of as well.
Well, when you talk about Dak Prescott, it's hard not to think of the other guys in that quarterback room. Trey Lance kind of had an up and down preseason, and some would even say more down. What is next from him, from coming from a GM's kind of mindset? What is next in store for Trey Lance?
Yeah, what a devastating finish, right? It's really sad because everything had been so positive and so productive, and yet you can see it doesn't take much to kind of spoil a preseason, as we know. And it was, very disappointing end. And for Trey Lance as much for the Dallas Cowboys. But I think that they're going to sit there and say, hey, look, guys are young players are allowed to have tough nights. They grow from it. The tape, as you know, is so important to look at and to sit there and say, why did you do that? What made you make that decision? And I think those are the things that you can decide. If Trey Lance grabs a hold of that, then yeah, let's keep working with this guy because I think he's understanding. Like, he hasn't had a lot of criticism. He's been anointed number 3 pick in the draft, all these draft picks given up, and then he gets traded to Dallas, and now he goes through a preseason. It was looking good and then bad. And I want to see the character of the guy during those moments, which will tell me whether I think he can endure and stay in it. And so I think Trey Lance stays a Cowboy, is the backup quarterback for them. And, I think you just keep going down the road. You've already given up the draft pick collateral, and yet you've been at every practice, and you guys should know, I know you guys know that, but for fans, we evaluate every practice and every day, and it's not just what you did in the preseason game, and that's not the picture of the player fully.
Here's a question I have for you, Mark. Mark Dominic, former GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, joining us here on the D&M Leasing Hotline, 105 through the Fan on Monday night. Knowing what you know about this contract with this upcoming contract, and like I said, you're at that. I mean, you talked about being 58 to 60 million. There's rumblings around here that look, after what happened with Kirk Cousins. I mean, look, this guy got $55 million with the bum Achilles, for crying out loud. So if you're Dak Prescott, who's only 31, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I might get 60, 65, and that's if I play well or if I tear my Achilles. If he becomes too expensive, then you get into that position where, okay, now what? What does a GM do if you're, say, like a team like the Raiders or a team like the Cowboys, where you're staring down the barrel of, okay, either you're going to have to pay your quarterback, big-time funny money, or go out and look elsewhere? What's that feeling like? And then what do you do to rectify that when you've got a win-now roster?
Well, I think you've got to do what Dallas has done. You've got to find Deron Blands and Damone Clarks and Osia Digazuas. You've got to find those guys in the middle rounds to later rounds that are going to kind of wrap around your roster, but aren't just guys. They're like, these are dudes. These are guys who can actually get things done. Because Dallas has done a really good job in the first round over the last couple of years. I'm not sure about Mozzie. I mean, you guys probably have a better sense. Obviously, they came out and went and got some veteran players. That makes me think he's maybe progressing a little slower than they were hoping for. But I think for Dak Prescott in those kind of situations, the problem by having to pay your quarterback is not a problem. The problem is trying to figure out who are the 6 or 7 players I can pay, and who are the guys I'm going to have to say, I can't pay that position. I can't pay that player just because I can't afford to do it anymore. You look at Kansas City, and they don't pay the wide receiver room right now, right? Tyreek Hill's phenomenal, and they had to let him go. They're going draft pick. Juju Smith-Schuster is going back at, I assume, a huge discount. And so they're saying there's a position we don't need to pay at, but we could still continue to put Patrick at a high point, Creed Humphrey, Chris Jones, different players on their team across the board that they'll pay, and they look at that wide receiver spot and say, that's not what we're going to pay. So I think that's what you have to think about. Now, CeeDee Lamb, I think, is uniquely different. He's such a special player, and he's a wide receiver 1, but I think that's also why the Cowboys won't pay wide receiver 2. I think as time goes on, wide receiver 2 is going to always be an interchangeable piece, while CeeDee Lamb's still wide receiver 1 through the draft, and you're going to have to be right on your draft picks when you're paying your quarterback 60. I don't think Dak Prescott gets in the 65 world. I think 60 is reality.
Well, I'm glad you spoke on that when it comes to GMs around the league and maneuvering money. And I kind of want to dive a little further into that. What are some teams or GMs around the league that you think, when it comes to being well run, that don't get talked about enough that you think deserve their flowers?
Which GMs do I think are doing a really good job? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you look around the league, I think Howie Roseman's done a good job. John Schneider's fighting through his roster right now. You see him making trades and trying to, battle through the outside linebacker with some injuries, but also some players. There's some veteran GMs I think are doing a pretty good job because they've learned, right? I learned, right? I had 5 years as a GM, and there's things I've been like, what was I thinking? How could I have done that? And then you see younger GMs, and they repeat the same mistakes. And sometimes young GMs don't get the second chance to go out there and do that. So I think those two guys are certainly guys, John Schneider, Howie Roseman, have done a good job. I do point to Will McClay. I know he's not the GM, but he's certainly a big part of that personnel department there in Dallas that every time his name gets brought up, they take care of him. I think Monty Ossenfort has done a very interesting job with the Arizona Cardinals, and I am very curious to see what they look. And I think Terry Fontenot, and I was very critical on the Michael Penix pick, but I think Terry Fontenot in Atlanta has assembled a really good team too now with the moves they've made over the last couple of weeks. So those are younger GMs I like and some more established GMs that I like.
All right, so cut down day, and of course a little bit different than when you were in the league, right? Because now, you guys had systematic cuts, whereas now it's like, all right, you carry 90, then boom, you're just going to, just wholesale cut everybody. And the practice squad's bigger now. What was the hardest cut you ever had to make? And then two-part question, hardest cut you ever had to make? And then B, what was the biggest or craziest reaction you ever had from a player after you let him go?
It's a combination. So sadly, before I became general manager, I was the Turk for Tampa Bay for 15 years.
Okay.
And so, I had the unpleasant role of walking through the locker room or finding players in their dorm room or on the field or coming off the field and saying, hey, we're going to let you go. And so,
you were that guy.
I never took pride in it, but I think the best word is I understood the pain that dude's going through, and that's real. And it's not just affecting him. It's affecting his family and his parents maybe, or his mom or dad, maybe a fiance or a wife or a girlfriend. There's so many more elements that happen. Just like when a head coach gets fired in the NFL, we're like, he's a bum. Well, you just fired 150 other people too because you fired the head coach, right? The kids and the coaches of a lot of different people. So I took it really serious because I thought it was really important. The hardest one I think I ever had, I've got 2 or 3 stories, but the toughest one I ever had was we were with Tony Dungy. It was probably 1998. And Coach Dungy had said to the team, hey, if you haven't heard from us by 4:00 p.m. Central Standard or Eastern Standard Time, you've made the club. And so 4:00 comes and goes. And at the last about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I'm in the office and we make a deal. And suddenly we're like, hey, we're going to cut Brad Culpepper, who, some people know as a player, some people know in Survivor, but he's a Florida Gator defensive tackle. And so they're like, we're going to let Brad go. So give him a call and have him come on in. And I'm like, well, this is going to be fun. So I call Brad and he's at dinner and he's like, Mark, what's up? And I'm like, hey, Brad, this isn't the ideal timing, but, I've got to let you know that as an organization, we've decided to let you go. He's like, what? I'm like, we're going to let you go. He's like, Mark, it's 7:15 at night, and Coach Dungy said 4:00, we're going to make all cuts. I'm at dinner with my wife right now celebrating that I made the team again this year, and you're calling me at 7:15, and I can hear his wife, Monica, on the other side, like, what? What's going on, Brad? What's happening? And I was like, oh. And I'm like, Brad, things happened. We had to make some roster moves at the last minute. We had to make some decisions. We had to make some changes. I'm sorry, but we're going to let you go. And the yelling on the phone, and understandably so, like, I didn't take it personal because I'm like, I get it. Like, we were told him what was the situation, and sadly it played out not the way we wanted to. And we learned a lesson organizationally there that from now on we call a team meeting, and we make a team meeting, and that's when we make the cut at the end of the team meeting. So no one leaves the building and the decisions are made. And it was really it was tough. Thankfully, Brad went on and got back to, the Chicago Bears for a little bit, went back to Tampa, and, he's been successful there as well as an attorney and stuff. But it was a very brutal night.
All right, I got to ask you this on a high note. You're a Jayhawk. I'm a Jayhawk. How are we feeling about this Big 12 run this year?
Well, I feel good. I'm happy that we have guys in the draft that are like in
How about your boy
clubs right
Dominic
now.
Pooney, man? I mean, this guy's going to get serious run.
Actually putting players in the league again, right? So let's go, rock chalk. But obviously things feel a lot different. It was a big hire, and for the Jayhawks, it's putting it back to back. But that's what's great. We got pro football coming back. College football is right around the corner. All things are good.
Mark, great stuff from you as always, my friend. Glad we could catch up, and let's do this again after the season gets rolling.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Much appreciated. The one, the only Mark Dominic, former GM for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, first hour in the books, boys and girls. A couple things he had to say about your boy Dak Prescott, what these Cowboys might do moving forward with the roster situation as well as the salary cap, and we'll take a trip around the National Football League. Lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. He's Blake. I'm Fred. This is 105 The Fan at dark.
You may not think what we say is smart, duh, but it's coming over a smart speaker, so that counts.
FM and HD1 Dallas Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station.
From our Highly Mazda of Arlington and Hearst studios, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Hour number 2 of the program going down on a Monday night. It's a Change My Mind Monday is what's happening. And right now, and of course, our boy Blake hit Mark Dominic just right upside the head, right off the bat with his first question. Where does he feel or where does he fall on hyphenated last names? And that's not something that Mark has ever thought about. It was not that. Let's put it this way: Mark does not hold it against a potential player back in his days for having a hyphenated last name.
I like that. Mark's a man of reason. And
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's one man's opinion. You know. I mean, like I said, I don't know that I've been proven wrong.
I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I feel
again, he did it himself. He hyphenated.
But you
his own
never
name.
said that. You never said maiden names or anything. You just said hyphenated names.
I mean. And I'm talking about football. I mean, basketball, like I said, Kareem's a different deal. Kareem's like his own.
Cam Taylor-Britt's a really good secondary player.
Is he?
Yeah. For the Bengals. For the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a text in 817 after night, and from the same 817 post nightfall. I think going on.
As far as the show?
Yeah.
As far as the show name?
I said dusk. I'm a big dusk fan. D-U-S-K.
Yeah. I said after dark. I meant to say after dark, or I said at night, but I meant.
I think you said at dark.
No, I said at dark, and I meant to say at night. So it's just it's fluid. It's fluid. A lot of we're workshopping the names here on the evening show.
We'll just keep throwing them out there. And
I feel like after dark is like the 10 o'clock hour.
I mean, it could be
because when we start, it's like still sunshine outside.
It is. It is. Now, once we get to. Once daylight savings time is over.
When is that? Off the top of your head?
October.
Yeah,
I mean, way to ruin it, smart guy. October. I couldn't hold it in.
Spring forward, fall back. That's how I remember it.
I'm sorry, I forgot. You were only asking Fred here. I forgot there were 3 people in this room here. Blake, it's all good.
Actually, it's 2 in this room.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's glass separating.
How dare
us.
you?
Glass.
How dare you? How dare you?
Come in there and give you a hug.
Shout out to Taylor Bashotti. Look at her teeth. My God, those teeth are white.
Okay, what are your thoughts on veneers? I saw a video on this, and she obviously
clearly those teeth aren't all natural.
I'm just saying, like, do we care? I feel like people are kind of turning their back on veneers all of a sudden.
When you can light up a room with your smile, and I don't mean like in a figurative way, but in like a literal, like, oh,
yeah,
wow.
It's almost too fake where it doesn't feel you're not.
I thought the whole point with veneers was, to give like, oh man, what a great smile.
Yeah.
But when you have to question like,
it's a lot.
You know who had Brian Cushing had a smile like that, where you were like, good. First of all, he had huge teeth.
I was about to say, it's like a
huge.
I don't think the smile was like.
When you
the
look like,
factor
I
there.
mean, seriously, when you look like you've got a mouthpiece in, all right, like, oh.
I know
wow.
we talked, Fred, about your steroid use. How about Brian Cushing's?
Well, first of all,
what an intro.
First of all, or segue. First of all, there is no steroid use with your boy Freddie D. Let's get that.
Where is the test?
Let's stop that
He just
narrative.
breezes by that
right now.
We talk about your steroid use all the time,
yeah,
Fred.
let's stop that narrative right now. This body's hard earned. Okay, hard earned body. No, Brian Cushing. I mean, we know. He was on the
on something
on the Hugo way back when. So fake teeth, Hugo user, and God bless him. But no, again, man, God bless anybody. I mean, I'd be all for getting veneers. At some point, I'm going to get veneers. But yeah, I'm going to keep it
all natural.
Yeah, man. I mean, as all natural as veneers can be.
Someone said keep them beige, all natural. I think they're talking about their teeth.
I mean,
beige is.
I don't know that I would want beige. I can do that naturally. Who wants to pay for that? Seriously, that's the whole reason why you pay for veneers is to have that nice.
You don't want beige teeth?
No, I don't want beige teeth. All right. I mean, like I said, I was a smoker for 30 years. I drink coffee. Like it's a struggle, man. I use hydrogen peroxide to help whiten my teeth. Just raw.
What kind of toothpaste you use?
Right now, it's great question. Crest. But I'm trying to find this stuff called Marvis.
Marvis. Sounds like a 1950s
That's
name.
exactly what it looks like. Yes.
No, it sounds.
877-881-1053 if you know about Marvis toothpaste and where I can get it.
Okay, it's going for about $12 a bottle.
Yes, it's not cheap, bro. It is not cheap
at
in this economy.
At Walmart, it's $18.45.
Yeah, but you ain't getting it at Walmart because I've already looked.
Amazon,
$16.50. You ain't gonna find it at the Louisville Walmart. I can tell you that much.
I use Arm & Hammer, the peroxide, whatever, like baking soda.
Do you feel like it works?
I feel like it works. I feel like it works pretty well. I feel like it's one of those just base. I think it's just like the base ingredients of most good toothpaste rather than buying all the different whitening packs.
How do we feel about the charcoal toothpaste?
I think that one was a scam. I think that's come out that it was like a scam, like that whole line
that
of
whole charcoal thing. Like, let me put some charcoal in my teeth. No, I'm not buying it. I'll tell you what I am buying though. Around the National Football League, Malik Willis, quarterback for your Tennessee Titans, traded from the Titans to the Green Bay Packers to back up Jordan Love.
I love this as a nice little contingency plan. Maybe Jordan Love is out a week, obviously like a week 18 thing, week 1, just giving him some off time. You have a guy that's got a similar skill set, a guy that can move outside the pocket, big arm talent, obviously needs a little more rough around the edges than Jordan Love. Jordan Love, a more polished product. No one's asking Malik Willis to be a game changer, but if he can come in and hold down some snaps, that's all you can ask for.
This is why, and I've said this, and I will go down with the ship on this one, boys. If I'm the NFL or the UFL and trying to find a way to bridge these two leagues together, the Trey Lances of the world, the Malik Willises of the world, what do we keep hearing about how, and my boy CA talks about this all the time, about how, you're overpaying for half the quarterbacks in the league and then the other half of the quarterback. I mean, you got that one tier of quarterbacks that's really good. You got that middle tier that's kind of, just somewhere, and maybe they can get you a title, maybe they can't. And then you got 15 other quarterbacks that you're just kind of like, what are we doing? Do we think if Malik Willis or a Trey Lance got an opportunity to play, say, 6 or 7 weeks during the spring and play real football, how much better these guys, we'd get a chance to see just how good these guys could potentially become?
Yeah, I kind of use it like a G League.
I've been saying that for years.
And you can still be on the real team.
You can still be on a real team.
But just in the offseason when everyone's at home posting workout videos.
I was going to say, what are you doing? You're working out with some, the Chris Brickleys of the world.
Which is great if you've already made it. But if you're still trying to make a name for yourself, we need you putting in real reps.
When is and again, let's bring it back to a Malik Willis and a Trey Lance. When are they ever going to get a shot?
It's tough, man, because now all you're doing is practice. And
that's it. Not a game.
And how much can you show in practice, man? You
can show that hey, I'm here to, work hard.
Yeah, but at the end of the day.
Live bullets?
You're not
going to see it.
When you don't know the defensive coverage, when coach can't reset the play, when we're not going over it separate times, when the crowd's into it, when this game means something, when other guys' families are on the line, you mess up 1 or 2 times, you're getting yanked from the game, whereas practice you have a little bit more where you can mess up and it's okay. For a guy like Malik Willis, his only chance is going to be Jordan Love. They have a winning record by week 18, and they're in the playoffs, and he doesn't need to play. And then for our boy Trey Lance, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe his time's coming sooner rather than later. We don't know.
We like to talk about quarterback drafts.
Yep.
The 2022 NFL draft, which was woefully void of any quality talent at the quarterback position. Kenny Pickett, all right, he was the only first-round pick that year, taken by the Steelers. He's no longer with them. Desmond Ridder for the Natty, all right, he's no longer with the Falcons. Malik Gown, he's now with, who the hell did we say was? Green Bay. Matt Corral, whatever the hell you want to call him.
Released by the Chiefs, right?
Was he with the Chiefs?
He was on the Chiefs. I believe he was on the Chiefs practice squad.
He was. I think you're thinking of Ian Book, but
Ian Book. You're right.
Ian Book, Matt Corral, same guy.
Same guy.
Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky, New England Patriots. He had a cup of coffee, right? Sam Howell, he's now in Seattle. All right, and then our boy Skylar Thompson, who's I want to say still with the Miami Dolphins. So what a craptastic quarterback group right there.
I want to say, the year before that was 2020.
That was 2022, that draft.
Because didn't we have? I'm looking at the draft right here. Wasn't that the same year Justin Fields and Trey Lance and Zach Wilson?
I would have said all their names had they been drafted in 2022. I literally just named all the 2022 quarterbacks.
Okay.
Try 2021.
I mean, I'm looking at this and
Try 2021. Just for bleeps and giggles.
Okay, I see the difference. It had both of them on the list. Why would they do that? It has 2022 and 2020. I mean, 2021 is not much better.
We're gonna work. 2021. Let's hear 2021.
Zach Wilson,
garbage.
Trey Lance, not too much.
Third string quarterback on your Dallas Cowboys.
Justin Fields,
backup in Pittsburgh.
Mac Jones.
I'm on the Mac Jones could be your and I'm stealing this from James. James and I are in cahoots on this. Mac Jones is going to be, and I'm going to put a caveat to this, ladies and gentlemen. 877-881-1053. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well.
You steal my hot take for tomorrow, or from yesterday.
Yeah, we kind of helped each other out with this.
Look at the gas.
We really did.
I'm just saying.
We kind of worked on this. Let me take it real quick.
We did, but I'm going to go ahead and steal it back. But I'm at least citing him.
Yeah,
what am I,
is.
Nick Wright here? I'm not going to steal your take and use it as my own. So, and I'm going to put a caveat to this, if Dak Prescott is not signed long-term by your Dallas Cowboys, which if you're Mark Dominic, it's a no-brainer that you re-sign him. He is out of the league. Mac Jones will be your opening day starter for your Dallas Cowboys in 2025. Book it. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank.
We're gonna let that.
I want to hear Blake's thought on this one.
Simmer on that. Marinate on that for a minute.
You said book it.
Well,
Book it. Take it to the bank.
I'll tell you this. I think I think this is a huge if, because I think Dak Prescott will be a Dallas Cowboy for years to come. But on the long chance
that he might not,
we get Mac Jones next year. We see Mac Jones on a short-term deal. Again, what the hell are you going to pay? You're not going to overpay that guy, right? Might as well take him. He's only 26.
I'll let you know right now to both of you. If CeeDee Lamb caught any whiff of this conversation happening, he's returning the contract and crumpling and throwing it right back at Jerry Jones.
I'm not saying Mac Jones is the future for the
Dallas
Dallas
He's not the
Cowboys.
future. He's not the present. He's not the past. He has nothing to do with anything that has to do with time. Mac Jones will never put on that star. Don't you ever grace my ears with such disgrace that Mac Jones will be touching AT&T Stadium with a star on his helmet. No, never. You could throw Cooper Rush out there for the next 5 years and be better than Mac Jones.
Cooper Rush is not better than Mac Jones.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes,
No,
he
he's
is.
not. Mac Jones.
Tell me something in the NFL. I don't want to hear nothing about Alabama.
He was a Pro Bowler his first year.
Yeah, and we all know that was fugazi.
We got him to a playoff game.
So you think Mac Jones is better than Cooper Rush?
Oh, it's not even close.
It's not even close?
Dude, if Cooper...
I don't know about if it's not even close, because they're both in the same position as a second-string quarterback.
No. It's not even close. It's not even close. Because here's the thing. If Cooper Rush was a valid starting quarterback, he'd be gone. Okay?
He's like one of the better backups.
If Cooper Rush was a valid starting quarterback in the National Football... No, but Mac Jones is.
No, he's not!
Mac Jones is a valid starting quarterback in the National Football League. 100%. 100. He's having to take the Baker the Baker Mayfield.
Oh my gosh! You just said Mac Jones is a starter.
He absolutely.
No, he's
tell
not.
you what, Mac Jones. We're gonna find out. First of all, don't you find it ironic that he actually went back to a real quarterback coach and had a tremendous preseason? I mean, threw dimes in the preseason.
He's also playing behind a guy who was drafted after him. And
Actually,
Trevor Lawrence.
He was drafted in front of
Trevor?
him. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm saying.
But my point is this. Mac Jones, remember we threw Baker Mayfield to the Wolves and said he was done? Mm-hmm. And he's brought his career back?
I didn't say that, but people.
Okay, people.
I'm big. Him at OU, I was a big fan.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Mac Jones.
But what has he shown you? Mac did not have this, untapped potential where he was doing.
He absolutely does. I tell you what, give me a quarterback.
Jerry Jeudy and everybody.
Give me a quarterback that had to deal with, I'm not even going to give you an offensive coordinator. In fact, I'm going to give you two jamokes who don't even coach the offensive side of the ball. Like, let's talk about that for a hot second. Like, how insane, for as great of a coach as Bill Belichick is, like, we're going to talk like 10 years later about how insane he was the last 2 or 3 seasons of his head coaching career. Where this dude said, you know what? I'm so insane, I'm not even going to bring an offensive coordinator. I'm just going to let my special teams coach and my D coordinator coach up the offense. Like, that's crazy talk. By the way, crazy talk also, we got Malik Willis going to the Packers. Trent Williams has said he's not coming back to San Francisco until his contract gets reworked. That's a big deal, especially if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm going to John Lynch and Shanahan saying, look, I don't know what you guys are doing, but let's get this done, like sooner rather than later, because my contract is reliant upon whether or not Big 71 gets paid. And then finally, last but certainly not least, speaking of hyphenated last names, the one name that I will let slide, Juju Smith-Schuster, after being cut by the New England Patriots. And I think the tea leaves are about to fall about our boy Rashee Rice. Juju goes back to the Chiefs.
You think he's going to?
Who, Juju? No, he's already been signed.
Oh, he signed with the Chiefs?
He signed with the Chiefs today. So Juju Smith-Schuster gets signed by the Chiefs today. But I think that tells you that I think Rashee Rice, the suspension is going to come down before week 1.
I think it's part of that. Marquise Brown being hurt, Hollywood Brown having the shoulder injury, being out for, I think they said 6 weeks. We'll see if that impedes on the season and how much it does. So I think that's also a part of that. So it's really, I
agree.
You don't have a lot of receiver talent out there right now.
And losing, it's one thing to lose Marquise Brown because, again, he hasn't been, it's like he's been around anyway in that offense, but losing Rashee Rice, you need somebody that you can plug and play in there. And look, Juju, again, miraculously went to New England and was a gaggle you-know-what in the last couple seasons. What a surprise. What a surprise.
Well, yeah.
Suddenly goes to a team that's worth a damn. Now all of a sudden he's back at a Pro Bowl level. Just saying.
So you think
saying.
You think the Patriots are holding back this amazing talent in Mac Jones this whole time?
I think so. Okay, I think that entire team went off the rails.
Mac Jones at his ceiling is what for you, Fred?
I think he's a 10-7.
No, give me like a range of where he falls.
Baker
in the
Mayfield. He's Baker Mayfield 2.0.
No.
I don't even think he's that good, but that's. I thought you were going to say like top 10, like at his ceiling.
No. Baker Mayfield was a first overall pick.
Thank you. Heisman winner. Brought the Browns from rags to riches.
Okay, and he's bounced around to 17 different teams. You asked me what his ceiling is. Okay, is Baker Mayfield going to win a Super Bowl anytime soon? Yes or no?
No, but that's not the comparison.
No, you asked me what my comparison was, and I just said Baker Mayfield.
I'm saying like Baker at his best has shown to be top 10-ish, top 12-ish quarterback for a single year.
And I think Mac Jones could do that.
He could never do that. Mac Jones could never do that.
100% could.
You could put him on the Chiefs tomorrow. He wouldn't do that.
I'll tell you what, put him on. We'll see next year when he's with the Cowboys. That's Blake Elliott. I'm Fred Davis. Speaking of Blake, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out about those Dallas Mavericks as we do a little Blake on Mavs. We got a little fair foul coming up. Lots to get to. And our preliminary AFC, NFC predictions. That's coming up next hour as well. 877-881-1053. 877-881-1053. That's the Franklin Injury Attorney text line for you to chime in and share your thoughts as well. Blake on Mavs coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Friends, you've been hearing me talk about my computer career for some time now. If you're working way too hard for too little money with
think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
Nah, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Casts.
Boy, the Tolos are feeling some type of way tonight. How about that on the Franklin Frankel injury attorney text line? Hey, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see when it comes to Mac Jones. Okay? I didn't realize that. I didn't know that I had a bunch of John Maddens chiming in tonight. Just a couple folks. Let's see, from the 972. This guy's take on Mac Jones means he should stop discussing sports because he's making himself look very bad. Okay, great.
Maybe they're talking about me. They could be talking about me.
Well, they could be talking about either one of it. They could be. That's true. That's true. That's true. I get shame on me for automatically assuming that the bad stuff was about me. I see Fred got into Lucia's stash. LOL.
That's a good take.
That is a good take. Let's see. This one too. But guys, you shouldn't take things so literally. This is from the 469. You've got to be kidding me if you think the Rice replacement is Juju. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we didn't say like in the literal sense. I mean, he's going to fill the void while Rasheed's being suspended because he's not a very good driver. Okay, like that's what we're referring to. And he knows the system, and he was successful in Kansas City. Actually led the team in receiving that year. So that's what we're referring to.
In a 682, Fred is just breathing, but words happen to be coming out.
Yeah, Blake, get this fool. Fred just blowing hot air. All right. Well, again, I didn't know that this was the. I didn't know. Man, who knew that mentioning Mac Jones?
Hey, this is 2 days in a row.
Draws the ire
was the last
of
time
people.
Justin Herbert and
Yes.
Dak got the people going.
Well, heck, this is 2 days in a row. He's mentioned the whole Mac Jones thing.
Yeah, no,
So,
this is a hot Mac Jones
He
take.
had,
But
he had the morning crowd. Now he's got the night
I was
crowd.
going to say the morning crowd is and I didn't even go in on the Mac Jones to this extent
Honestly,
yesterday.
that was more my take
That
yesterday.
was your take on it. So
I'm glad you're taking the heat for it, though.
Can we go ahead and get James from behind that glass? Can we just start yelling at him?
No, we're in two different rooms, Blake. I can't hear you.
I thought we were in the same room according to you earlier.
Fred's just taking arrows. Here's what we're going to do, folks. Here's what we're going to do. All right, we're going to go to Blake on Mavs. I'll take all the heat on this, and we will bookmark. Well, as the kids say, we'll put a pin in this conversation. All right.
That's what your son says?
We're not going to see much of Mac Jones this year, unless, God forbid, and again, we're not for injuries. We all like, we like to see teams at their full complement. But if Trevor Lawrence gets hurt, then we obviously will see Mac. But we won't know until next year at this time. So let's just, again, bookmark it, and we'll see what happens.
We won't know for a while because we're not going to see practice squad clips out of Jacksonville.
We say that. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, and this is what brought this whole thing up yesterday. If you're the Raiders.
You're not looking at Mac Jones. There's 15 other quarterbacks you're looking at before that.
Are you, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Just, again,
I don't know. I honestly think that the Cowboys thing is a big stretch. The Raiders, though, it seems more likely. The Saints, it seems
I'm looking
more
at Desmond
likely.
Ridder first.
No, dude. All right. Okay. You know what?
I mean, if we're looking at it.
Desmond Ridder can't even throw. Desmond Ridder wasn't even a good throw. I mean, my man threw for 3,800 yards his rookie year.
Can't get words out right now. That's how heated he is right
well,
now.
I'm trying not to say, I'm trying not to get fired.
It's a family show.
It is a family show. I mean, I get it. It's 105.3 at night, and you can let your guard down a little bit, but no, not that much. It's in the podcast for crying out loud. There is the FCC. I've had my dalliances with them. All right, it's time for Blake.
The FCC won't let you be,
Here we go.
Let's go to Blake.
Blake on
All right,
Mavs.
here we go. I've been asking myself, what more content can I bring to the people? And I woke up this morning, and I asked myself a bunch of questions that I always do that rattle off in my head. And I want to share these questions with you guys for a little Blake on Mavs. Kind of get your mind stirring as we're approaching the season. When we get to October, we're starting getting some preseason games. And then later in October, we get that first game against the San Antonio Spurs. On October 24th, I am more than excited. I wrote these down. These are questions I will be asking Jason Kidd in my head throughout the season. Just kind of always keeping a tab of these questions. How does he navigate these certain things? I want to ask James. I want to ask you. I want to ask the Tolos. 877-881-1053. It's the Franklin Injury Attorney text line. Best way to get involved in the show and to reply to this question. My first one that I asked. Can you keep Luka and Kyrie's minutes under 35 a night?
Can you keep them at under 35 a night? If you stay healthy, yes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair number to put there.
Yes. I think if they stay healthy and if you go all Texas Rangers from last season and you build up enough of a cushion. Now, of course, we all know that Western Conference is a gauntlet, and it's going to be again this year. But if you've got enough of a cushion in January, February, March, and you can give them boys a little bit where you drop them into that 30-ish. Because I think early, and again, I think you'll have those moments where you'll play 37, 38. But like you said, if you can keep them around, have those nights where it's 25 to 30, sign me up.
Last year, Luka, 37.5 minutes, Kyrie, 35 minutes. So you're kind of hoping that you already know what you get from them in the regular season, so you don't need them to show you anything.
Well, Kyrie, for sure, you need to keep on.
Kyrie was at 33, pretty much 34 minutes pre-All-Star. Post-All-Star, he went up to 36, obviously ramping it up about 2 more minutes a game. And that post-All-Star, I'm just hoping that for the overall health of your 2-star guys, they need to prove nothing for the most part in the regular season, that any accolades of how we talk about these players is going to be what they do in the postseason. Keep them as healthy as possible and get them into the postseason is a number one priority for me. Next one, do you prioritize Jaden Hardy's growth, or do you go with a safe option in Exum/Dimity? One of those guards is going to come back up Luka/Kyrie. We already know about Grimes. I think we can already bullet in minutes for him. So I left him out of this. I think the 3 guys with Hardy, Exum, and Dinwiddie, they're kind of all fighting for the same minutes in a sense of that other guard to come off the bench with Quentin Grimes.
I think you're going to know in training camp.
Okay.
Dinwiddie, you know what you have at this
and
stage.
Exum, I would have said.
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean, with Exum and Dinwiddie, you know what you have at this stage of their career.
Correct.
Right. I mean, and Dinwiddie's a solid
creator,
safety blanket, right? As far as, and again, can give you some buckets with a second group and that sort of thing.
Offense.
Veteran type dude who, trying to get a title, right? He's got that hunger for a title. With Hardy, you just want to see what this guy. I mean, we don't know what his upside is yet.
Yeah,
and that's the $1 million question, right? And that's, can he be consistent? Can he take that next jump? Is the $1 million question.
I think we ask that in all major sports with these young guys. You see sparks, but it's like, what are coaches and GMs to say? They got to be consistent. They got
to every night.
Because I'll see, you drop 31 night, or you have 3 touchdowns in one game, and whatever it may be. But can you smooth it out to you're getting a touchdown a game, you're getting 5-10 points every time we put you on the floor, you're not having dumb fouls, you understand the offense. Little things that maybe fans don't care about. They care about the highs and let me see the highlights. But as a coach and a guy like Jason Kidd, who was obviously once a great player, he wants to see consistency, especially when it comes to the guard position, which he played at a very high level for a long time.
Hall of Fame.
I'm hoping, I'm a big Jaden Hardy guy, and I hope for the long-term growth of this team that Jaden Hardy's growth is prioritized. Because at this point, if he's just behind Exum and Dinwiddie on the depth chart and the minutes and rotation, then what are we doing at this point?
Well, or it just tells you kind of where he's at as far as his development goes. Yeah. I think to your point, you want to see him show you what he's got, and you'd like to see and again, as much about from a contract standpoint, like if you can get this guy can be a consistent player for you, and he's on the cheap, man, that goes a long way.
It does. My next question for you, this one's a little bit more nuanced. How different will the offense look with Klay Thompson out there? I think we're very used to spread out, pick and roll, high pick and roll. Derek Lively or Gafford comes up for Luka or Kyrie. They run off that action. There's 2 guys in the corner, usually PJ, and last year it was Derek Jones Jr. It'll be probably a variation of Klay and Najee Marshall and Grimes. And they're just sitting in the corners, and it's drive and kick, and then the lob option is there, and then whatever guard doesn't have the ball is at the top of the key.
Yeah.
We saw that almost like every play, unless it was transition or a certain Spain, or they're running some kind of slot 45 action. But for the most part, they're running just high pick and roll. Do you think the offense looks any different when you have a movement shooter like Klay, who's used to running off 5, 6, 7 screens around the court? Or do they stick to their basic offense and just say, Klay, just chop into here?
I mean, I think you just you keep running the same thing, because if you think about it, it's not like the way they run their offense that only guys can get open in the corners, right? And I mean, how many times, especially in the finals, did you see where guys would have 3 open threes on the wing
above the break threes,
and you're sitting there going and you're just praying that it hits something.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I mean, look, I think if anything, Klay adds that, all right, now you not only do you have the corner 3, but now you got the wing 3, and so from a defense, you can't just sag in the corner like you used to.
Because we saw when they played Oklahoma City and when they played Minnesota, there was a lot of nerdy scheme things going out with both of those coaches of understanding the Mavs were one of the best corner 3 teams, and they were quite literally taking away the corner 3. They were like, you can shoot the 3 5 feet to the right of me, and I don't care. You are not going to shoot a corner 3.
Exactly. And now with Klay, it's like, okay, go ahead, stick that corner, guard that corner 3 a little bit tighter. Now, all right, I'm going to be wide open in the wing.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Jason Kidd maneuvers this. I think he's going to have Klay coming off some screens, doing some slips, some back doors, just because when you have that motion going on, whether he has the ball in his hand is not, his off-ball gravity we've seen is great. People are going to be staring him down, and now what does that do? Luka and Kyrie are one-on-one, or maybe that help side defender is no longer staring at Luka. He's staring at Klay, and now Luka has a free rim, a free shot at the basket. So I just think all of those players are going to open up a lot of stuff for each other. I think Steph is really good, but he's a different player than Luka. Their gravity is a lot different. So I think Klay's going to get some different looks that he's never gotten out there before, and I'm excited to see how Jason Kidd maneuvers all these different options. Last one before we get out of here. How involved do you want P.J. Washington to be in the offensive game plan coming in next year? We saw him become more and more involved, honestly, as the playoffs went. You saw in that Oklahoma City series, they were giving him the ball, letting him bring the ball up the court. They tried to do it more and more. Some games it worked, some games it didn't.
Yeah.
With Clay being there, you already know what you got with Luka and Kai. Derek Lively's progression. How involved do you want PJ to be? Or does he need to be? I guess.
No. I mean, look, it needs to be as much as his maturation and development calls for. As much as and I appreciate you asking this question about PJ, because again, he's also kind of somebody that we kind of get lost in the shuffle. Agreed. As far as who we're talking about. This is the first time in PJ's career since college that he gets to look forward to next season.
Yep.
Nobody cares about basketball in Charlotte. And that pains me to say that.
Sorry,
being a
MJ.
Michael Jordan guy. Like, that pains me to say as a Michael Jordan guy, like the fact that he just didn't care as the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Bobcats, or insert whatever the hell name they were with their ugly-ass uniforms back when they were the Bobcats. Shout out to my boy Gerald Wallace. PJ now, and he knows he didn't end the season well. Yes, it was a phenomenal trade deadline move. Yes, he was a spark, and yes, he got to play big minutes, and he got to play meaningful basketball for the first time in his professional career. But for as great as PJ was for the first 3 series of those playoffs, he was as equally bad in the finals. I mean, he was an absolute no-show.
I don't know I would go that far.
No, he was bad in the playoffs.
Just because
in the finals.
Just because nobody really showed up except for Luka in the finals. Kyrie was terrible.
And that's what I'm saying.
Lively wasn't good. Like, until he got back home to Dallas, he had a good, I think, game 4. Lively he had like 1 point over 3 games. So I'm not going to be like PJ wasn't great. Nobody was good, literally on the team except for Luka.
We can literally, it's the same. We can make the same argument. I mean, we might as well just go ahead and make the blanket Cowboys argument against the Packers, right?
Yeah,
everybody
same.
was terrible.
So, but see, Luka outshined. We didn't even have anyone on the Cowboys. It was like, you still did your thing. Luka
had his moments, right? But I would also argue too, there were times where he just wouldn't stop bitching, and then, oh, by the way, you can't foul out in the biggest moment of your life. By the way,
I agree, but no one even had like over 20 points when he did that.
I get all that, but I'm just saying, and again, it was a good learning experience for everybody. But PJ, for as dynamic of a scorer as he was those first 3 series, he, like Kyrie, that was the problem.
But see,
okay,
I'm not putting
he
that
had
much
to be
stock.
your third guy, but he became your third guy, and he was your no guy.
Like, if we lost in Game 7, it was because PJ didn't do what he did in the other 3 series. I'm not like hanging my hat on that. I think what he did.
I'd be cool with it if he'd help you get to a Game 7.
I think in that Oklahoma City series was a little bit of a aberration. When he was going off from 3, I think he shot like 45% from 3. He could not miss, maybe even 50%. He couldn't miss from the 3-point line. I think he averages, if he can average 14, 15 for you, I think you're fine. You don't need him to be a 20-point scorer. So
no, you don't. But again, I think you're going to see a more sustained, consistent scoring effort from your boy PJ in 2024, 2025.
Well, that was a little bit of Blake on Mavs. That'll just be the questions I'm asking myself in my head to Jason Kidd. Will he be able to maneuver all these little quirks and weird things as the season goes on? And you'll have to stay tuned here on The Fan to hear if those things come true.
And then, of course, you'll have an opportunity to talk to him at some point as well. So you should ask those questions in so that he hears them come out of your mouth out loud into the ethos. We'll go into the ethos with the next segment. A little fair or foul, boys or girls, 877-881-1053. Fair or foul coming up next. Couple stories that we've got for you. And the only question that we're going to ask you is, are they fair or are they foul? 105 The Fan coming up next.
Coming up on that next KNC Masterpiece, CD's deal is done. He's here. So what next? Plus, it's NFL Cutdown Day. We'll keep you up to date with all of the names and comings and goings. Join the show 10 to 2 on The Fan.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbors said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.